don't really need to do that.
Hey.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm not used to having no...
Nobody on your back?
Yeah, so he's going to be Cleveland. And Seattle is over there, so if I start pointing a little bit...
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
Oh,
welcome.
Chicago?
Well, welcome, Bob. It's really great to have you here. Thank you very much. And I know that to leave all your models is probably a tough thing.
Right, yeah.
Okay, that's all right. Yes, this is the speaking part of the
That's all
lunch.
right.
Actually, speaking of I'm going to do something I don't usually do. I'm going to read something that's not terribly long, but a little bit long, but I loved it so much. It's something that you said, and I just think this is great. It says, imagine a rotating sphere that is 12,800 kilometers in diameter, has a bumpy surface, is surrounded by a 40 kilometers deep mixture of different gases whose concentrations vary both spatially and over time, and is heated, along with its surrounding gases, by a nuclear reactor 150 million kilometers away. Imagine also that this sphere is revolving around the nuclear reactor, and that some locations are heated more during one part of the revolution, and other locations are heated during another part of the revolution. And imagine that this mixture of gases continually receives inputs from the surface below, generally calmly, but sometimes through violent and highly localized injections. Then, imagine that after watching the gaseous mixture, you are expected to predict its state at one location on the sphere 1, 2, or more days into the future. This is essentially the task encountered day by a weather forecaster.
Right.
I'm exhausted.
And I use
Wow,
that,
Bob.
and I use that because imagine, and all of us who have experience and have seen the changes 10, 20, 30 years, which I hope are advances, but imagine we're reasonably successful at doing that. But imagine if we tried or said we could do that 1,000, 2,000 years ago, I would have been burned at the stake as a warlock for successfully predicting the future. And one of the gases, of course, water, can exist at 3 phases: ice, gas, or liquid at about the same temperature. So it's a challenge. It's great fun.
You're already making me pull my hair out. No, well, you say that you would have been burned at the stake, but do you remember? I think it was in 2005. The mayor of Moscow wanted to put in jail the weatherman.
Yes.
Remember that? Do you remember? You must have paid attention to this.
Well,
because he got the
busted the forecast,
right.
right.
What happens to you when you get the forecast wrong?
I'm put in the public jail.
You put in the
And now with emails.
Yeah, really? They can reach you?
It's interesting that as the advances of the science and the expectations of what the science can deliver will always be
Out
separated.
of
Yeah,
proportion,
the expectation goes up at a much faster rate than what we can really deliver.
Don't you contribute to that a little bit when you put these forecasts up on the screen that go, a week or 8 days into the future?
We never do 8 days.
Okay, 7.
7 days.
7, all right, 7.5. But I mean, how realistic is that
Well,
really?
I think that's part of anyone who's in the communication side of things, of trying to communicate what we all know is basically has some inherent uncertainty.
Right.
Even
Just
today,
like the polls.
Sure. And so you try and communicate a bit of that uncertainty so that you help people get ready for something, and yet without making a definitive decision. Do I tee off at 9 o'clock in the morning or at noon after the showers have passed on the 7th day? We can't do that.
With all the technology, is there because the climate, well, you're going to have to tell it first. What is the difference between a climatologist and a meteorologist?
The climatologist, or the climate, is what you expect.
But it's
the weather and the meteorologist is what you get.
But it's a field of study.
No, it's a field of study.
Yeah.
It is, and it's.
So you obviously have no respect for the climatologist.
Oh no! Oh my goodness! With the debates that are going on and with the global changes, the climate changes. Terrifically important field. And it's interesting, again, having a couple of years, the looking at the history of the sciences or the earth sciences, it used to be you were an oceanographer, you studied the ocean. You were a limnologist, you studied the lakes. You were a climatologist, you studied the climate. You were a meteorologist, you studied the weather. But the more and more as time has gone on, all of these have converged
morphed
because
into-
they are so interdependent on all of the specialties and all of the things that go on. The ocean, we know now, is critically linked to the atmospheric patterns to
Right.
then which translate to the day-to-day weather. So no, nothing but tremendous respect for the climate, especially those trying to look and see what will happen, what are we doing, and what does it mean regionally, what does it mean for Washington, what does it mean for the Southwest, water resources, hydrologists. There are when young people come in and say, oh, I want to be a weatherman, I want to be a meteorologist, there are so many opportunities now and so many areas to go into and to sort of follow your passion and whatever is really, really interesting to you. It's great.
Do you see a lot of people who want to do this as a profession?
More and more. The more and more. I think because of a combination of seeing that science, the only contact that the average person, and especially young people, have day in and day out with a science, in a way, is watching the evening weather report.
Right.
And with the issues of environment, air quality, livability, sustainability, climate change, and of course things like severe storms, tornadoes, there are more and more young people that think that this is a terrific career that they want to pursue.
Is climate change the PC word for global warming?
No, I think it's.
Because it's interesting the way it's used.
Yeah,
Especially,
it is, and global warming has become a political magnet, lightning
potato,
rod, hot
right,
potato.
right.
And I would prefer if all of us who are communicating that or working in the field could talk about global change. We know
Okay.
global change relates to everything from land use to population to urban effects to water resources, and certainly global climate change, which global warming is a subset of that,
Right.
is part of that. But global change, I think if we think about global change and what it means to sustainability, to life experiences, to the environment, air quality, is much better way to think about it.
Is there any way of referring to it, though, that would put the human component more in it so that people would have a greater sense of their own?
Anthropogenic global change.
Oh, there
Human impacts on global change. Well, here's a small case.
Because that's a very significant component
Sure
of
it is. And we know water quality in high population areas, India,
Right.
China. Look at the problems China has had. Not because the climate's changed, but because of what they have done to the
Tell us what the
environment.
problems that China's had.
Of air quality and the water quality and the rapid expansion without
Aren't they us
sufficient-
100 years ago, perhaps, with air quality?
The air quality was probably much better 100 years ago
Here.
in
Well,
China.
what-
And the urban heat island. We know that Washington is warmer now than it was 150 years ago because of all of the concrete. The asphalt absorbs heat, radiates it back at night. There's no question within the.
But is the climate in, say, Leesburg, well, that's too populated, but let's go out in Loudoun County. Is the climate there changed the same as the climate in Washington?
No. The nights are cooler. Days are with more trees are not
So
as
it's an
hot.
urban phenomenon.
But the rain-snow line and the overall, some of the pattern changes which are subtle. I get emails, people calling, the robins are here, and the robins live year-round now, and many things, and we know
The bugs do too, don't
the
they?
bugs do too. The growing season is, look at the trees that are out now.
The bulbs that are up this high.
Yeah, and here we are in February, and I'm reporting pollen counts. Now,
Yeah.
this is an unusually warm winter, but
But is that all it is? Is it just an unusually warm winter, or is
Yeah.
it some trend?
yeah. Well, if the probability of getting more winters like this, I think, going forward, are there.
I was just discussing this and this is a conversation you probably have with many people of a certain age, is that I don't buy winter clothing anymore. It used to be, I remember when we were younger, because I grew up in this area.
Well, we just exercise all the time. We're in such
Is that
better
what it
health.
is? We
and,
don't feel the cold?
And our metabolism is going up, and
Yeah, right. But I remember snow. There just used to be snow all
it will
the
come
time.
back.
It will?
Well, this
Darn.
we're way below. Not well. I thought there would be a big snowstorm today.
Today,
Usually,
yes. Yeah, right, that's what you
nature's
promised
perverse.
me.
It knows when, but there will be other winters when we'll have a big snow.